Hello everyone, welcome to Datawolfs. I hope you are all doing fine. This is a new video on Power BI interview questions and answers. In this video, we are going to discuss 50 most important Power BI interview questions and answers with concept. I will also share tips regarding interview. So without wasting time, let's get started with our video. So let's start with first question. What is Power BI? So Power BI is basically a data visualization tool that is developed by Microsoft. It helps us to connect with various data sources, analyze and visualize that data, thus making it easier for us to make informed decisions. So through this Power BI, we can create interactive dashboard and reports which help us to explore the data and get insights from the data. Now next question is, what are the key components of Power BI? So there are 4 key components of Power BI. The first is Power BI Desktop. Power BI Desktop is basically a Windows-based application which is used to create and publish the report. Then we have Power BI Service. Power BI Service is a cloud-based software as a service used to share and collaborate on the report. So basically, desktop is used to create and publish the report, and Power BI Service is used to share and collaborate on the reports. Then we have Power BI Mobile App, a mobile app for viewing the reports on the go. Then we have Power BI Report Server. It is an on-premises solution for organizations who want to host reports locally. So basically, you can create the reports using desktop, but you need to publish the reports somewhere, like either in Power BI Service and or in Power BI Report Server. Power BI Service is managed by Microsoft, so organization do not have much control on the backend side of the Power BI Service. So they need to host their reports on Power BI Service, which is managed by Microsoft. But some organizations do not want to give that control to Microsoft. So they create their own reporting server where they can host their report directly. So they do not use Power BI as a service. They just use Power BI Desktop and Power BI Report Server. So you can check all this in this link also. So this is the official documentation from Microsoft. You can learn what is Power BI, the different parts of Power BI which we learned just now, that is Power BI Desktop, Power BI Service, Power BI Mobile App. Then we have Power BI Report Builder. This is used to create paginated reports, which we will discuss in our next questions. And then we have Power BI Report Server. So next question is, what is Power BI Desktop? Power BI Desktop is basically a Windows-based application which is used to create and publish report to Power BI service, which I just explained. So the most common uses of Power BI Desktop are, first it is used to connect to the data source, then transform and clean the data, then create visuals such as chart, graphs, create reports, that is collection of visuals on one or more report pages, and then share the reports to Power BI service or Power BI report server. So let's take a look at Power BI Desktop. So this is a Windows-based application. I'm running this software in Windows. So this is look of Power BI. So here you can see we can get the data from different data sources: Excel, Power BI data source, Dataflows, SQL Server. Then we have one tab for transform the data. If you click on this, a Power Query editor will open. Here you will see the complete list of tables. Here you will see this complete list of tables, which we also say queries. Right now we have only one table here, and you can see the data here. You can cleanse the data and transform the data in this Power Query editor. You can see the steps, like I have promoted the header. If you go to this section, you say this is column 1, column 2, column 3, and this is the heading, order, region. Then I promoted the headers, so now the orders is in heading, and then change the type of some column and rename the column. Then you can apply these changes to your data, and we are again in the Power BI Desktop. So in Power BI Desktop, there are 3 views. One is report view, data view, and model view. In report view, you can see there are 4 pages in this. Like first is sales dashboard, then YOY analysis, CT tooltip, and product tooltip. And in data view, you can see the complete data. So there are 2 tables. One is date table. So we can see the data of date table, then food sales table. The third tab is for Power modeling. So here we will see the connection between different tables. You can see that this date table is filtering this food sales table. You can check with this arrow, and the connection between them is one to many. So this is the overview of Power BI desktop. Now our next question is, what is Power BI service? Power BI service is a cloud-based application. Basically, it is a software as a service which is help users to view, share and collaborate on Power BI report. It can be accessible from any device with an internet connection. So let's open Power BI desktop again. We can publish the report in Power BI service. Let's save our report first. Now it is asking us to publish the report to Power BI service. This is my workspace. So let's publish the report here. So you already have a data sales name sales dashboard. Let's replace that report. So it is publishing. Now it is successful. Now when I open this app.powerbi.com, I can see that this is my workspace. Here is the data source and this is the report. When I click on this report will open and you can see like the same report I am able to see which I built in Power BI desktop. So this is Power BI service. And what is the advantage of Power BI service? This report was local to me, so only I can access in this Windows environment, but I can publish this report in Power BI service and then give access of this report to other team members of mine and they can use this report as well. This is completely interactive report. So let's say I want to see the data for quarter 4. Whenever so when I click on quarter 4, all the data for this on this visuals are changed. So this is Power BI service. Now let's move to our next question, that is, what are the different data sources that Power BI can connect to? So Power BI can connect to wide range of data sources. Let's check in Power BI desktop. So when we click on get data, click on more. So here a pop-up will appear. So here you can see we have files. So we can connect with Excel, text or CSV file, XML file, JSML file. Then in databases we have SQL, Oracle, Teradata. We can connect with these many types of databases. Then in through Power Platform we can connect. Through Azure we can connect like Azure Databricks, Azure Synapse Analytics. Then through various online services like Salesforce, Adobe Analytics, GitHub, we can connect with multiple data sources. You can check this through this get data option here. So next question is, what is DAX in Power BI? DAX is data analysis expression, is a formula language used in Power BI to create custom calculation and aggregation. So it is a flexible way to manipulate data within Power BI. It is used for calculation, creating new columns or creating new calculations. So if I go to this Power BI desktop, you can see this is CY revenue, that is current year revenue. And you can see that there is a calculator sign here. So this is a measure and measure is created using DAX. So you can check here, like I written some DAX. What it will do, it will calculate the current year revenue for the data set. So this is how you write DAX. Next question is, what is Power BI Q&A? So Power BI Q&A is a natural language query and search capability in Power BI that allow users to quickly find the information that they are looking for in Power BI reports and dashboard by simply typing a question in plain language. So let me give you a demo here. So let's go to the sales dashboard. Now you can see that there is a ask a question about your data, but there are only two views. Let's say we need to see some different view which is not present here as of now. So we will go to this Q&A. So you can ask question like there are some suggestion given by this. So let's type this, what is present year or past year revenue by category. So when I type this question, so Power BI will populate this graph for me. So you can see we didn't make this graph. This is made by Power BI using its AI capability. We just typed a question which is what is past year revenue by category. So it gave us the revenue, past year revenue by categories. And we can pin this visual if we required. If we can pin this, like let's pin this in existing sales dashboard, and it is pinned. So let's check the dashboard now. So you can see with these two visuals, this visual is also created here. Next question is, what is a data model in Power BI and what its purpose? So a data model in Power BI is a logical representation of data in your report, which allows you to create relationship between tables. The purpose of the data model is to provide a structured way to work with the data in Power BI. So if we go to Power BI Desktop, I showed you this tab, which is a model tab. So you can see, like, in data model, we can create relationship between two tables. So right now the relationship between these two tables is through date and order date. Let's delete this one. Now it is deleted. So how to create a relationship in Power BI? We just need to drag this, and on top of that, Power BI will automatically generate a relationship between them. Now let's change this relationship from one to many, and cardinality will be single, that is cross filter direction. So now this date table will filter this food sales table. So this is a modeling view. So this is the data model for this Power BI report. Next question is, what is a dashboard in Power BI and how does it differ from a report? So a dashboard is basically a collection of visualization that provide a consolidated view of data in report. Dashboards are interactive and allow users to explore data and insights, whereas a report is a collection of pages that display data in various formats such as table, charts, and maps. So what we built in Power BI, if you see, we created a report. So 4 pages of report is created, and then this report is published in Power BI service. So if I go to my workspace, you can see, like, we created this report. So if you hover over this icon, you can see this is a report, whereas this is a dashboard. So report can consist of multiple pages, whereas dashboard is consist of single page. And what are the advantage of dashboard? It give you snip of complete report. What I mean by snip of complete report, let's say you created 4 pages in a report. So we have 2 pages here, like sales dashboard and YOY analysis. Now let's see, we have two important visual. First one is this is one of the important visual, and this is another important visual. So we need to show them in a single page. So what we can do, we can simply pin this visual in dashboard. So this is already pinned. Let's pin some other visual. Let's pin this visual. So when you can see this icon to pin, whenever we click on this, it will ask us to pin to dashboard. So where would you like to pin? We would like to pin it to an existing dashboard, that is sales dashboard. Let's pin this visual. So now if we again go to workspace, now we can see this is a dashboard. When we click on it, you can see we have the new pinned visual. So in a dashboard is basically a single page where we can pin visuals from different report pages. So it gives us the snip of total data which is available. Now let's move to our next question. What is row level security in Power BI and why is it important? So row level security in Power BI is basically a feature that allow you to restrict access to data in a report based on user roles. So in row level security, what we do, we create different roles. Let's check in this report. For now, the roles in this report is not created, but I will give you a scenario where we can create roles. So let's say we want to create two roles, East role and West role. So the people in East role will be only be able to see data which is related to East. So they will only see this data. They will only see the rows of data which belongs to East region. And if we create a West role, the people will only see the data or rows of data which is allocated to West region. So it basically is important in maintaining data privacy and security. So if we have different people in different region and we want them to see the data of their region only, a person located in West region should only be able to see the data of West region, and person located in South should only be able to see the data related to South region. So in that row level security in Power BI helps us. So basically we can restrict access to certain data based on user's role, providing a secure and controlled way to share data. Next question is, what is difference between DirectQuery and import mode in Power BI? So DirectQuery is a feature in Power BI that allows user to connect to a data source live and run reports against that data source, whereas in import is a feature in Power BI that allows user to import data in Power BI, create reports based on the imported data. So basically in import mode, the data is copied from source to Power BI, whereas in DirectQuery, the data is not copied from source to Power BI. We just make a connection, and whenever we have a data request, it just send the query to source data, and source data reply with answer. So let's say if we want to calculate the count of rows in our data, in import mode, the data is already copied to Power BI, so the data is already available in Power BI. It just Power BI just counts the number of and give us the count of rows. Whereas in DirectQuery, a request is sent to source data to give us the count of rows, and then source calculates the count of rows and give that answers to Power BI, and then Power BI publishes it. So if we talk of refresh frequency, so we can refresh import more hourly or daily based on our requirement. So let's say if we set at daily at 10 a.m., then the data in Power BI is refreshed at 10 a.m. And so there will be a copy activity will be happening between source and Power BI. So at 10 a.m. daily, source data is copied to Power BI. Whereas in DirectQuery, no, there is no data present in Power BI. Only a connection is made. So so the data is always fetched from SQL whenever a query is raised or a calculation is asked. So it is a type of live connection. The maximum size of data in import is 1 GB, and for DirectQuery there is no limit. This 1 GB is for pro user. If you go for premium capacity, then this will increase. Whereas in DirectQuery, it depends upon the source. If source can handle as much as data, that depends upon source. The data storage in import mode, it is stored in Power BI service, whereas in DirectQuery, the data remains at source location. Start with our first question. Can you explain the concept of data modeling in Power BI? Data modeling in Power BI is basically the process of defining relationship between different data sources in Power BI. The most common models are star schema and snowflake. So let's go to Power BI desktop. If you see, there are three tabs. One is report tab, second one is data tab, and third one is model tab. So this is our model tab, where we will see all the tables in that Power BI report, and we will connect all those tables with each other as per our modeling requirement. So you can see this is the relationship between these two tables. So this is a date dimension table, and this is our food sales fact table. We are creating a relationship between these two. You can check the properties of this relationship by right clicking on this link, and you can see like these tables are connected with order date and date table. And the cardinality, that is relationship, is many to one, that is from many from food sales table and one from dim date table. And the cross filter direction is single. So you can see we are connecting these two tables with one to many relationship, and date dimension table is filtering food sales table. From this manage relationship tab, you can see like all the relationship which are present here. Power BI has an AI capability that automatically detects a relationship between tables. You can use this also. You can create new manual relationship new by clicking this new, and you can edit the existing ones also by clicking on this. So this is the model tab in Power BI. Basically, a good data model means optimized analytical performance, no matter how large and complex your data set is or become. So a data model is a basic requirement for creating a good report. 40% of your complexity comes in data model. If you build a good data model, then your report will perform well. If you make a bad model, then you will face giving us brief about how to set up drill through in Power BI report. You can check this link out. Now next question is, can you explain the concept of data blending in Power BI? So data blending in Power BI is a feature that allows you to combine data from multiple sources in a single report. This means you can use data from multiple sources to create a single report that provides a comprehensive view of your data. You are making a report, there will be multiple tables, like one will be the fact tables, one will be there will be dimension tables. So let's say dimension table are stored in your data company data warehouse, whereas fact tables, that is transaction table, you are getting from different softwares, like you are using Salesforce for tracking transaction, then you will be getting that file from there. So it is a capability feature in Power BI to combine data from multiple sources into a single report. Next question is, what is Power BI REST API and how is it used? The Power BI REST API is a set of RESTful web services that allow you to interact with Power BI programmatically. It provides a way to automate common tasks such as creating, updating, and deleting reports, as well as accessing data and metadata. So with Power BI API, what you can do, you can manage Power BI content, that is common. You can perform common tasks like creating, updating, and deleting report, perform admin operations, and embed Power BI content. You can check more about Power BI REST API in this link. Here, Microsoft is telling us about how to use Power BI REST API. So you can see the scope, using a service principal, adding scopes, everything is there. You can read this page out. Now next question is, what is Power BI Premium and what are its benefits? Power BI Premium is a paid version of Power BI that provides advanced features and scalability for organization. Some of the benefits of Power BI Premium are: first, dedicated capacity for report and dashboard creation, increased data refresh rate, increased data capacity, and application lifecycle management. You can check this link here. We will see the comparison between three licenses, that is Power BI Pro, Power BI Premium. In Power BI Premium, we have two types of licenses, per user and per capacity. So in the you can see the difference between these three licenses. Like consumer content without per user license, we have this in Power BI Premium per capacity. If you check the model size limit, so 1 GB is for Pro, 100 GB is for Power BI Premium per user, and 400 GB is for Power BI Premium per capacity. Similarly with refresh rates, then we have data mart creation. Then you can see the maximum storage for per user is defined. So you can check this link out. Next question is, what is difference between Power BI Desktop and Power BI Service? Power BI Desktop is a Windows-based application and is used to create and publish reports. Power BI Service is a cloud-based application or service and is used to share and collaborate on reports. Power BI Desktop is used to create and edit reports, and Power BI Service is used to view, analyze, and share reports. So let's check Power BI Desktop first. So as I told you, this is the Power BI Desktop. So there are three pages: report page, data page, where we can see all the data of different tables, and then data modeling tab. So in report page, you can see there are different pages that we can create. So Power BI Desktop is generally used to create and publish the reports. So here you can see we create the dashboard. We can change the layout if we need to move it up or down, and once it is done, we will publish it to Power BI Service. Power BI Service is this tab. Like once we created and published the report, we can see that report here. You can provide the access of this workspace, like this is the workspace, to different people, or you can provide the access of, like, let's say this particular report to different people, and in the web application, by using the link of this report, they can check the report which is built, and then they can collaborate on it. Like they can chat or share this report, they can see all the data, they can interact with this report. All this can be done in Power BI Service. Our next question is, what are different types of relationship in Power BI? So there are three kind of relationship: one-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-many. So a one-to-one relationship exists when a single value in one table is related to a single value in another table. A one-to-many relationship exists when a single value in one table is related to multiple values in another table. And many-to-many relationship exists when multiple values in one table are related to multiple values in another table. Best approach is one-to-many relationship between dimension and fact table. You can check this here in data model tab. So these two tables are connected with one-to-many relationship, and if you go to properties, you can see that how many relationship are possible. That is one to many to one, one to one, one to many. These all are same. These two are same, if you can say. Depends upon which table is on top. If fact table is on top, then it will be many to one. If dimension table is on top, then it will be one to many, and there will be many to many. So whenever we use many to many relationship, there is some kind of warning from Power BI. that this should be used if it is expected that neither column contains unique values. So and different behavior of many to many relationship is understood. So this kind of relationship is not preferred in Power BI, basically in star schema. Now let's move to our next question, that is how to implement real-time streaming in Power BI. Real-time streaming in Power BI can be implemented by using Power BI streaming, which allows user to stream data in Power BI in real time and visualize it in a dashboard or an report. Additionally, Power BI's streaming can also be used in conjunction with other Power BI features such as Power BI Report, Power BI Dashboard, and Power BI Embedded. You can check this link out to check how to implement real-time streaming. So basically, there are three ways, like push data set, streaming data set, PubNub. So in this article, Microsoft explain how to configure real-time streaming. You can check this link out. Now let's move to a next question. What is difference between calculated column and calculated table in Power BI? So there is other similar question, which is difference between calculated column and calculated measure or measure, that we will discuss in next video. For now, we are discussing difference between calculated column and calculated table. So calculated columns are created within an existing table and can be used to add new columns to a table based on calculations. Whereas calculation tables are standalone tables that are created based on calculation. So let's move to Power BI desktop to check this out. So if you can say, we have two tables, like one is food sales table and another one is date dimension table. If you can see, there is one calculator sign here in date dimension table because this is a calculated table. So if you go to this table in data view, you can see we have two options, like create new column or create new table. If we click on new table, then a new table will be created and we need to write the DAX formulas, DAX calculation to create this table. So we have already created date dimension table. This is a calculated table. If you can see, like date, dim, all these columns are calculated based on DAX formulas. Here you can see, we can see the DAX formulas, right? So all this is a calculated table. And if we, let's say if we need to create a calculated column, in fact, food sales table, let's say we have order date, we need to create a column for year. So we will click on this new column. So it will create a new calculated column. We will write DAX. The column name will be year and we will write this like year, then order date, then enter. So now you see that the name of this column is changed to year and we have year for particular order date. So 2020, all this. So year has been calculated. So this is a calculated column. And this complete table is a calculated table because this was not present in our source data. We calculated it based on DAX formulas. Based on this, next question is, what is the role of Power BI Query Editor? Power BI Query Editor is a powerful tool that allows users to clean and transform data before importing into Power BI. It provides a variety of tools for cleansing and transforming data, make it easier to work with complex data set and prepare them for analysis. So let's take a look at Power BI Query Editor. So when we go to this transform tab in home section of Power BI, it will open Power Query Editor for you. So here you will see the list of tables and what are the changes applied step on this table. So if you see in the home tab, we have different tabs, like we can add new data in the Power BI, we can enter data manually, we can change the data source setting. Let's say if the data has moved from different location to another location, then we can change the location with this data source setting. We have advanced editor where we write codes to change or cleanse or transform the data. And then we have transform tab where we have different transformation tools available, like transport, reverse rows, count rows, then pivot and pivot column, replace values, split columns, extract values. And we can run R script and Python script also in this Power Query Editor. We can add and remove rows. Everything we can do, like related to cleansing and transforming data before loading it into Power BI, can be done through Power BI Query Editor. And like the steps are what steps we choose to basically cleanse the data or change the data will be applied here. You can see all the steps that you have applied on the data set. And then what you can do, you can just close and apply the changes in the Power BI. Now let's move to next question. What is Power BI Gateway and how is it used? So Power BI Gateway is a service that allows Power BI to securely access data that is stored in on-premise data source. So basically, let's say you have a data warehouse or data server in your on-premise company location. Now you want to access that through Power BI. That you can do with the help of Power BI Gateway. To fetch data from on-premises data sources, you need Power BI Gateway. You can learn more about this in this link. So what is on-premise data gateway? So you can see like there is on-premise data sources and cloud, and for that, to access the data on-premises, securely access the data, you need on-premise gateway. You can check this link out. Now next question is, what are the different types of filters in Power BI? So there are many types of filter in Power BI, like report level filter, page level filter, visual level filter, then drill through filter, drill down filter, and URL filter. So if you go to Power BI desktop, we have a filter tab here. So you can see that there are different types of filter on visual, filter on this page, and filter on all page. So if we select a particular visual, then we can add a filter on this particular visual. If we want to add a filter on complete page, then we can add that filter here. And if we want to add a filter on complete report across all pages, then we can add that filter here. And there are other types of filter. You can learn this from this link directly from Microsoft. They explain all other types of filter also, drill through, drill down, etc. Next question is, what is Power BI Report Server and how is it different from Power BI Service? So Power BI Report Server is an on-premise solution for publishing and managing and delivering Power BI reports, while Power BI Service is a cloud-based solution for accessing, analyzing, and visualizing the data. Basically, the difference is, once you, let's say you prepared a report in Power BI desktop and now you are publishing it. So when you publish it, the one option is to publish it into Power BI Service, and it is a cloud-based solution. So if I open this app.powerbi.com, so you can see we have sales dashboard, all the reports published here, but it is app.powerbi.com. It is hosted by Microsoft. Like, organization do not have control over this. We have control over our workspaces, but we cannot control app.powerbi.com. But some organization have sensitive data and they do not want it to share with Microsoft or host it in Microsoft app. So what they do, they create a Power BI report server in their premises only, and they host that Power BI report in this report server. So what it offers a more secure and controlled environment for organizations that want to keep their data on premises. And Power BI service is not flexible and offer a wider range of services features. So basically, in Power BI service, you will get more feature as compared to Power BI report server. You can learn more about these reports server here, like what is Power BI report server, comparing Power BI report server, licensing Power BI report server, other information is there. How can you improve the performance of Power BI report? So there are different ways in which we can improve the performance of Power BI report. The first one is reduce the size of your data. Example, removing the redundant column or creating summarize or aggregating data instead of detailed data. So let's say your data is date wise, then you can aggregate it based on month or year. So it will reduce the number of rows. Second point is use DirectQuery instead of import. So if your data size is quite large, you can use DirectQuery. Third point is use appropriate data type, example date instead of date time. So the space required to state date time is more compared to date. So date time will use large space, so it's better to use date. That will also increase the report speed. Use row level security, as it will limit the number of rows which we need to operate. Fifth, use star schema. So if your data is limited and after that also your report is not performing well, the main reason can be data modeling issue. So always try to use star schema or snowflake schema based on your requirement. Sixth point is use query folding and data compression techniques. So whenever possible, try to use query folding, as it will remove the load from Power BI and create the load on data source. So computation will be done at data source level. Seventh, use certified custom visuals. So if you go to Power BI desktop, you can see there are different custom visuals available. Get more visuals. Always try to use certified on which the right tick is there. So always try to use these certified visuals. limit the number of visuals in dashboard and report. So if there are large number of visuals in a single report or a single page of your report, that will also take more time to load. So always try to limit the number of visual to report and dashboard. Using Power BI Premium for large scale solution, as it will help with more computation power. Remove unnecessary interaction between visuals. So if I again go to my Power BI dashboard, so you can see whenever I click on this visuals, all other visuals filter out by this visual. So this will create more computation as when I'm filtering this, Power BI is calculating the impact on this visual. So it will slow the performance of your report. So you can try to limit this by choosing this format option and in edit interaction. You can click on this and then there will 3 tabs will appear. You can click on this none part. Now you can see when I click on this visual, all others are changing, but this visual is not changing. So remove the interaction part. Next point is avoid bidirectional and many-to-many relationship against high cardinality column. So it's always try to avoid bidirectional and many-to-many relationship. Reduce queries and apply buttons in slices. So if I again go to Power BI desktop, you can see, let me stop this. Now if I filter this by 2020, all changes will apply suddenly, like at the moment only. But let's say if we want to change all the slices to view something, but whenever I'm changing single slices, the report is getting filtered. So what we can do, we can create an apply button and then choose all the slices and then apply that. So it will reduce the number of queries that are sent by visuals to data. Next is replace the auto generated date table with custom date table in your model. So if I go to data model, file, options and settings, options, in data load, you can see there is time intelligence, auto date time. If I hover over this I button, automatically create a hidden table for each field in data model that has a date or date time data type. So let's say you have 4 date columns in your data. So 4 date tables will be created automatically in background of Power BI. So it's always useful to deselect this, like uncheck this box or of auto date time and create your own manual date time. So that will also increase the speed of Power BI. Next is use report backgrounds for static images. So if you're using some images or formatting, try to create a background and then paste that background in Power BI. So instead of using all these bars and text, what you can do, you can go to the visualization pane, create a background, canvas background, and load the background through this. Next question is, what is difference between a calculated column and a measure? A calculated column is a column in a table that is calculated at the time of data refresh using DAX and returns a value for each row in the table, whereas in measure it is calculated when they are called and return a single value. So calculated column are calculated based on row context, where measures are calculated based on filter context. Calculated columns belong to a single table, whereas measure belong to whole data model. Calculated columns are computed at the time of data refresh. Measures are computed at the time of query time or whenever they are called. Calculated columns use space in your data model, whereas measure do not consume any space or data model. So let's check calculated column and measure in our Power BI desktop. So if you see this visual, current year revenue, we are using this measure. So this measure is created and it is whenever it is called, it will calculate what is the value of current year revenue, and it is based on filter context and it will not consume any memory. Whereas if you see this revenue through this icon, this is a calculated column. You can find this here. So you can see there is a DAX formula used, that is food sales, sale quantity into food sales into unit price, and it is calculated based on row context. Like every time it is multiplying the sale quantity with unit price and then calculating this revenue, and it is computed at the time of refresh of this data, and it is saved in Power BI. So it will consume memory. Next question is, how do you use R and Python script in Power BI? R and Python script can be used in Power BI by installing R and Python scripting components, creating a data source for the script, and then adding the script to a report or dashboard. The result of script can be visualized in Power BI. So if you click on this link, this is the official documentation site from Microsoft, that is learn.microsoft.com. So here you can see how you can run the Python script. So these are the prerequisites. You need to install Python 3 and all other libraries like pandas, matplotlib. So by this you can create a query in Python and run the script. You can also create visuals with Python. So if you scroll down, so by using this matplotlib library, like a scatter diagram is created by using this code like this. Next question is, what is Power BI Embedded and how is it used? Power BI Embedded is a feature in Power BI that allows developer to embed Power BI reports and dashboard into other applications such as SharePoint, Teams, and custom web application. Power BI Embedded is used by organizations to provide a seamless experience for users who need to access and analyze data within the context of their application. So basically, by using Power BI, you can access the report directly from team environment or any web application. You do not need to come to Power BI services, that is app.powerbi.com. You can use Power BI anywhere in your web. So this is the link which is provided by Microsoft. You can go through this to learn more about Power BI Embedded. Next question is, how do you create and use custom visual in Power BI? So first of all, custom visual can be created in Power BI by using visual development platforms such as Power BI Developer Tools or a third-party platform. And custom visuals can be used in Power BI by importing them into a report and then using them in the same way as other visuals. So if you go to this Power BI desktop, you can see in visualization pane, we have get more visuals. So you can see these all are the custom visuals which are not developed by Microsoft but are developed by third-party persons. And you can click on this. You can add this to your Power BI desktop and use as you use other Microsoft visuals. Next question is, what is Power BI data flow and how is it used? Power BI data flow is a self-service ETL, that is extract, transform, load tool that allows user to import, transfer, and load data from variety of sources into Power BI. It is used to automate the process of importing data into Power BI and provides a centralized repository for data that can be used by multiple reports and dashboards. So it is basically a ETL tool and can be used by multiple reports and dashboards. Next question is, what is Power BI Paginated report and how is this used? Power BI Paginated report is a feature that allows user to create tabular reports that are optimized for printing. So a major advantage of paginated report is their ability to print all data in the table. So let's suppose you have a table in Power BI report and you can see some of its rows in the table on the page, and you have to scroll the report or the table to see the rest of the data. So let's suppose you have a table and you can see, let's say, first 10 rows in the Power BI report, and you need to scroll down to see rest of the rows of data in that table. So if you print it, this table or this report in normal Power BI report, what will happen? The only rows which are visible will get printed. But if you print this from paginated report, all the rows which are not visible as of now in the scroller will also get printed. So this is the advantage of paginated report. You can learn more about paginated report from this link. That is from learn.microsoft.com and what are paginated reports, etc. So there is video also from Microsoft about this, explaining paginated report. Now next question is, what is difference between active relationship and inactive relationship? So we all know what is relationship. Relationship is connection between two tables in Power BI. So relationship can be active or inactive depending upon the status of relationship. If there is an active relationship between the two tables, the tables are filtered or aggregated based on that active relationship. And in case of inactive relationship, the relationship is defined in Power BI but is not currently being used. So the default relationship is always active relationship. If we have to use inactive relationship, then we need to use relationship function as mentioned here. So let me show in Power BI. So you can see we have two tables, food sales table and date dim table. So for now, this solid line is showing us the active relationship and this dotted line is showing us the inactive relationship. So you can see if we click on this, so date is connected to order date and year is connected to year here through inactive relationship. So these are the two types of relationship. Now the most common use of inactive relationship is when you have two dates column. So let's suppose you have a fact table containing two date column, like one is shipping date and another is purchase date. Now you want to calculate the total revenue once with shipping date and another time with purchase date. So what you will do, so you will use active relationship, let's say for calculating with the shipping date, and for calculating total revenue with purchase date, you will use relationship function and mention the relationship between those table and then calculate the total amount of revenue. Next question is, what is difference between static and dynamic RLS? So in Power BI, RLS is basically a feature that control access to data in report. Now there are two type of RLS. One is static, second one is dynamic. In static RLS, we predefine the roles and then allot people to those roles. So let's say we have two regions and we need to create two roles, like one is north and another is south. Now we need to assign, what we will do, we will create two roles, north south, and we will assign people to north roles and south role as per their requirement. But in dynamic RLS, what will happen, a single role will be created that will be dynamic in nature. And what this role will do, we will use DAX here. So we will use user principal name. This is a DAX function which is used to perform dynamic RLS. What this function will do, it will fetch the email ID of the particular user who is logged in. And in dynamic RLS, we have a user table where we have email IDs and the access which is granted to that particular email ID. So with that user table that is available in data model, all other model will be filtered, all fact table and dimension table will be filtered based on that access. So this will be a dynamic in nature. So if you want to limit the access of to data in report based on north and south region, you will create two roles, that is north and other one will be the south in static. So you will create two roles, whereas in dynamic you will create a single dynamic role that will fetch data or user ID using user principal name DAX function, and access will be provided to him based on a user table that is present in the model. You can check out this link to understand more about dynamic and static RLS. Let's go to next question. What are the parameters in Power BI and how they are used? So in Power BI, parameters are used to dynamic control the behavior of data or report. So there are different uses of parameters, like first is dynamic filtering, dynamic calculation, dynamic sorting, dynamic visualization, and change source setting. So you can read more about that. So like in dynamic filtering, let's say you need to dynamically data that is fetched into Power BI. So you can do with the help of parameters. Similarly, if you want to, let's say, deploy the report from dev environment to UAT environment to production environment, you can create parameters for the path, and then you can directly change the parameters, and you can deploy the report to task is rate yourself in DAX out of 10 and what are the DAX function that you have used in your past project. So always try to rate yourself 7 or above, and if you feel that you are not good enough, then prepare yourself to reach that level. Don't rate yourself below 7 as it will give negative impression to interviewer. And mention DAX function that you have used in your previous project, and you must know everything about those function, as interviewer can ask for a detailed application of any of those function. And below is the list of DAX function that you must know before appearing for any interview. So these are the important DAX function. For in aggregation function, we have SUMX, average, count rows. In datetime function, calendar and CALENDARAUTO are important function which is used to create date table. Then in filter, we have all except all selected. Interviewer will ask difference between all these three and what are the application of all these three functions. Then in informative function, we have username, user principal name, which is used for dynamic RLS. In logical function, we have if, switch, and or not true. Parent child hierarchy, we have path, path item, path len. These functions are used in hierarchy functions. These are hierarchical function and used to find relationship when there is a hierarchy, like manager and employee, second level manager. Relationship function like cross filter, related table, use relationship. This is used to activate or use the inactive relationship. Then we have table manipulation function like summarize, TOPN, which are important. Then in text function we have concatenate, format, length, left, right, trim. And in time intelligence, all these functions are very important. I haven't seen any interview where questions are not being asked related to time intelligence functions. These are very important. All YTDs function like dates YTD, total MTD, parallel period, same period last year and previous month. Next question is, what is DAX calculate function in Power BI? So the DAX calculation function is a key function in DAX that allows for modification of existing calculation or expression by applying one or more filter. It is used to modify the filter context in which a calculation is performed and can be used to perform complex calculation and analysis. So let's check this link out from learn.microsoft.com. So it is used to modify the filter context. Now, if you see the syntax, calculate expression, then filter. If we see the example, you can see like what we are doing here, that sum of sales amount. So we are calculating the sales amount or summing up the sales amount. But by using calculate, we are changing the filter context for this sales amount. What we are doing, we are adding this statement, that is sales order date key is equals to max sales order date key. So what it will do, it will give us the sales amount on the last selected day. So with help of calculate, what you can do, you can change the filter context of any expression. Now next question is, how do you handle missing values in DAX? Missing values in DAX can be handled by using DAX functions such as isBlank, isFull and coalesce. These functions can be used to replace missing values with a default value or to perform a calculation that ignores missing value. Now next question is, what is difference between sum and SUMX DAX function in Power BI? So SUMX is an iterator function, whereas sum is aggregated function. SUMX perform row by row calculation, whereas sum used to sum the column based on a filter context. The expression of SUMX is this table, then expression, and in sum we will write sum, then the column name. Here are the link from where you can see real explanation of SUMX and sum with example. So let's assume you have a table, sales table, and there are two columns, quantity sold and unit price. So let's say if you need to calculate the total quantity sold, so what you will do, you will write sum and then total quantity sold column. So it will give you the total quantity that is sold. But let's say you need to calculate total sales amount, then what you need to do first, you need to first multiply the sold quantity with unit price and then add those things. So in that case you will use SUMX, where you will write the table name and then the expression like unit price multiplied by quantity sold for row by row. Next question is, how do you handle error in DAX expression? Error in DAX expression can be handled by using DAX if error function. This function allows you to specify a value to return in case of an error in DAX expression, which helps to prevent error from affecting your calculation and analysis. Now next question is, can you explain the DAX RANKX function? The RANKX function is used to calculate rank of a value in a column of data. It is used to determine relative position of a value within a set of values and can be used to perform complex ranking and sorting operations. So this is the syntax of RANKX function. RANKX, table, expression, value, order and ties. You can go and learn more about RANKX function from this link from learn.microsoft.com. So if you go scroll down, like these are the important terms which I want to highlight, like one is order and another one is ties. So you can see these are parameters which you can pass to RANKX function. So if you pass 0, then it will rank in descending order. If you pass 1, then it will rank in ascending order. Similarly, if you see enumeration or ties, so if you pass skip, the next rank value after a tie is the rank value of tie plus the count of tied value. For example, if 5 values are tied with a rank of 11, then next value will receive a rank of 16. Whereas if you pass dense, then the next rank value after a tie is next rank value. For example, if 5 values are tied at rank 11, then next value will receive a rank of 12. So it will convert this RANKX function into dense rank function. Next question is, explain summarize DAX function. So summarize DAX function returns a summary table for requested total over a set of group. So here is an example of summarize function. Let's say you have a table reseller sales USD and you need to summarize it by calendar year and product category. So these are the summarized columns based on which you are summarizing this reseller sales. And what you need, you need total sales amount in USD. So you are summing up the reseller column sales amount in USD, and you are aggregating discount amount. So this will create a summarized table and having 4 columns: calendar year, product category name, and the sum of total sales amount USD and sum of total discount amount. You can learn more about summarized table from this link. Next question is, can you explain the DAX TOPN function? TOPN function returns the top n rows of the specified table. So this is the syntax of DAX TOPN function. So you can see the application of TOPN function here. So what we are doing in this example, we are summing up the sales of top n products, top 10 products basically. So first what we are doing, we are summarizing this internet sales table based on product key, and we are summing up the sales amount. Then what we are doing, we are selecting the top 10 rows of this summarized table and arranging them in descending order. Then what we are doing, we are summing up this top 10 end rows. So it will give us the sum of top 10 product. Now next question is, how to calculate total YTD sales for financial year starting from April 1st. So for YTD function, as I told you in previously, so we will use total YTD function, and what we will pass the end date of year. So if our year start from 1st of April, then we will pass 31st of March as the end date of year, and this function will automatically sums the total from 1st of April to till date. So this is how YTD function works. You can read more about YTD function from here. Next question is, what is difference between calendar and CALENDARAUTO DAX function? So calendar DAX function returns a table with one column of dates between start date and end date. So in calendar function, you need to pass start date and end date as an argument in calendar function, and it will create a date table comprising of start date and end date and a continuous date between these start date and end date. Whereas in CALENDARAUTO function, it automatically returns a one column of date calculated from the model automatically. So here you don't have to pass start date and end date. What it will do, it will check the tables and see what are the dates available in those tables, then automatically generate a calendar table with one column comprising of all those dates. The first question, what is Power Query and why is it important for Power BI? Power Query is a data connection and transformation tool in Power BI. It allows user to import and manipulate data from various sources and transform it into the format that can be used for analysis and reporting. Power Query is important for Power BI as it provides an easy way to access, clean, and transform data, making it ready for analysis and visualization in Power BI. So let's open Power BI in desktop. So whenever you click on this transform tab, this Power Query editor will open in sales dashboard, Power Query editor, and here you can see, we will see all the tables which are there in this model. In left side in queries pane, then we can, when we click on the table name, we will see the table, and in right hand side we have query settings, where we will see all the steps which we applied on this table, like we connected the Power BI to source, then we navigated table, then we promoted this header. So if I click on this step and this step, you can see we connected with the source, then we promoted this header on to the header section. Then we change the type of column. Right now the column type is ABC123 ABC123, but when we click on this, you can see this is changed to date format, this is changed to text format, this is also changed to text format, and this quantity is changed to number format, and we renamed few of the columns. So this is the Power BI Power Query editor, and you can see different tabs also here: home, transform, add column, view. So this is basically used to connect with data sources. From here you can connect the data sources, you can cleanse the data. Like if you click on transform, there are many filters or tabs to cleanse the data, and you can transform it. Like you can use rename, replace values, fill, down, pivot, unpivot, create new columns from example, and invoke custom columns. Now let's move to second question. Can you explain the M language and how is it used in Power Query? So the M language, also known as Power Query Formula Language, is a functional language used in Power Query for data transformation. It is used to write expression and function for data manipulation such as filtering, sorting, aggregation. The M language is used in Power Query to perform advanced data transformation and to create custom functions. So let's again go to Power Query. So whatever the steps which we applied, they are converted into M language. If you go to this home section and then advanced editor, you can see that all these steps which we applied here are converted into M code. So if you know M code, you can directly write the M code. And if you want to make custom functions, then also you can do with M code here in this advanced editor. So this is a very powerful tool for cleansing the data and transforming the data. Next question is, how does Power Query help in data cleansing and preparation for Power BI? Power Query provides a range of tools for data cleansing and preparation, such as removing duplicates, splitting columns, merging tables, changing data types. The M language can also be used to write custom expression for cleansing and transforming data, making it easier to prepare data for analysis in Power BI. As I just showed you in this Power Query editor, so you can connect with the data sources, you can remove columns, keep rows, remove rows. So these all are for cleansing purpose. You can merge queries, append queries, and in transform tab you can do transform, reverse rows, count rows, then detect data type. You can fill up and down, pivot and unpivot columns. So there are various options are available for cleansing and replacing and transforming the data. Next question is, can you explain the difference between Power Query and DAX in Power BI? Power Query and DAX are two separate tools in Power BI used for different purpose. Where Power Query is used for data connection and transformation and cleansing part, which I just showed you, while DAX is used for data modeling and calculation when we are creating report and when we are connecting the different tables in data model tab. Power Query is used to import, clean and transform data, while DAX is used to create custom calculation and aggregation in data models. So I think this is very clear to you. Now next question is, what is query folding? So query folding in Power BI is a process of pushing down data transformation operation from Power BI to source database instead of performing them in Power BI. This process helps to reduce the amount of data that needs to be transformed from database to Power BI, which can improve the performance, thus reduce the time it takes to load the data in Power BI. And query folding is possible when using a data source that supports SQL, such as SQL Server, Oracle, and query folding can help to improve the performance by reducing the amount of data that needs to be transformed and processed within Power BI by offloading the process to source database, which may optimize for data transformation analysis. So let's see what Power Query does. So whenever you apply some changes in Power Query editor, and if your source is a SQL supported and you are applying query folding, then what will happen, like all these steps which you applied, which you are doing in Power BI, these will be converted into native query, and that query will be fed to source database. And all these changes, let's say if you are doing any filtering or cleansing the column, will be done by source, and the cleansed data and transformed data will be fetched into Power BI. So it will reduce the amount of space that is occupied in the Power BI and reduce time or calculation efforts that Power BI needs to do. So guys, that's all for this video. If you find this video insightful, then please do like this video and subscribe to our channel, and feel free to ask anything in comment section. We will try our best to answer all of them. Check us out on different social media platforms like LinkedIn, Facebook and Twitter, and check our websites, that is datawolfs.com. So we'll see you in our next video. Thank you.